Hey everybody, before we get this podcast started, just wanted to say big thanks to Jesus Núñez for coming on and talking with us. We had an awesome conversation, mainly about music and instruments and recording process, but I actually learned a lot about Jesus that I didn't know, so that was really interesting. And just before we get it started, I also wanted to plug their stuff, so you can find Muchacho Band on their website. They have a website at muchacho.band. They also, you can find them on Facebook, on Instagram, all that stuff. They have music on Spotify and all the other streaming platforms. They have singles up on there, so if you just look up Muchacho, you will find them. For House of I, we also have stuff on Spotify, Facebook, and Instagram. Obviously, you're watching this on YouTube, video-wise, but audio-wise, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, at House of I, and that is House of I with the letter I, not E-Y-E. Thank you guys for listening. We really appreciate it. And share with your friends, subscribe, like it, do it. Thank you so much and hope you guys enjoy this podcast. Peace.
Pick up the phone.
Hey.
Will I ramble secrets I've never told? Convincing myself.
Hey, he's gonna be so happy though.
He might not be. He might be really upset.
He's like,
Very
wow,
scared.
who's that Daniel guy? That's cool, man.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't send anything inappropriate back my way,
Just some weird pics of the wrong thing.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Come on, let's just all
I
say it.
know. Yeah, we know. Finger pictures of his finger.
Exactly.
Yes, only pointings. So what's up, man? How are you?
Oh, dude. You know what? In general, I'm doing really.
Before, let's because I always do this and I always forget. Please plug away anything that you wanna. So this is Jesus Núñez from Muchacho, and thank you for coming on the House of I podcast. What would you like to promote or plug?
Well, first, let me say thanks for inviting me, guys.
Of course.
I haven't talked to you all in a while. Really appreciate it. I'm really happy to see you guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, Muchacho, we have a new song. The date is with everything going on, I think the date could possibly change, but tentatively June 19th, we have a new song called December Summer coming out. We've recorded a bunch of songs and have them mixed, finished. Nice. We'll see what happens with the rest of them, but I'm really excited. I feel like most artists are pretty excited about their stuff, but I'm actually like, this stuff's good.
That's super exciting. I mean, have you been taking advantage of the time that you have home and kind of like working on stuff, or has this been kind of like something you were working on before?
The band, you're saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the band stuff, we basically recorded most of it earlier this year. Yeah, we recorded most of it earlier this year, and it's just kind of been locked and loaded, trying to be proactive, and then everything went a little crazy. I don't know if you knew this, but there's a huge global pandemic happening.
No, I didn't. Is that happening?
Yeah, it's been canceled though. We canceled it. We're back to normal, in case you're wondering.
Dude, it's
lick
crazy.
Whatever doorknobs, you do whatever you want to do. You shake people's hands, you cough in people's faces. We're back to normal, dude.
Man, I'll be honest. When this first happened, I was super anxious. I was so scared. I was so worried about what was gonna happen, and obviously it no one knew, and it was serious. It's still serious, but with the statistics coming out, it seems like it's not as contagious or rather deadly as they thought it was. But obviously, it's still, it'd still be good for people to stay quarantined that might have it, or for older people or whatever. But it was a weird moment for all of us. I mean, especially for like bars, local musicians, all that stuff. It's crazy.
Oh, dude, for sure. I mean, what was your guys' schedule like? Did you guys have stuff booked out for?
No. So weirdly enough, we were right at the end, literally at the end of our last show for months, basically.
Yeah. Oh, for real?
Yeah, we were gonna take a break.
This is not what we meant, though. This is not what we wanted.
I blame you guys. Y'all did this. You guys are responsible for this.
Breaking news.
Oh,
dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, so in a weird way, we were planning on not playing shows anyway and kind of just focusing on recording. So, obviously I'm not glad that it went about this way, but, we're definitely trying to take advantage of the fact that, we have all this time, and not necessarily because we both work. Are you working right now too?
Luckily, yeah. My wife and I work from home, so we're lucky, dude. So like the
Yes.
majority of our life, well, probably like 90% of our life is the same for the most part.
Hmm.
And then the 10% is mostly like human interaction, normal stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of sucked. I haven't been able to see a lot of friends, even the guys in the band. We haven't been able to meet up, but well, I think that'll be changing soon.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like, for a while we weren't really getting together, and then we started slowly kind of, our bass player's been coming over and recording and stuff like that and
Okay, yeah.
practicing.
Uh-huh.
So that's really it. I mean, our other guitar player, he lives in Massachusetts, so that's a little difficult to.
Sure. He's not showing up on the weekend.
No, not right now.
Quick little recording session.
No. But yeah, I'm still going out in the field because my job kind of it's considered essential, and I technically don't really interact with people at all, which is kind of nice.
What are you doing?
So I work for a lake management company, and basically what that is a
Nice, dude.
glorified.
Lakes
Yeah,
are great. Somebody needs to good thing.
it's a weird job. That's like the best thing I'll say for it.
Hey, but it's niche, dude. It's so niche. That's cool.
It is. It's a niche job. It's interesting because I can listen to podcasts all day, which is what I do. I just listen to podcasts and music. But after a while, my main concern with it, to be honest, is spraying chemicals, for myself, for my personal health.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm trying to like step away from it now. I'm trying to like transfer to a different department.
Yeah.
So hopefully that happens, but it's been kind of delayed now with all this going on. So I don't know. I'm kind of stuck in limbo.
I hear you.
Yeah.
So how's recording coming along? I mean, I don't want to hijack the podcast here, but I'm just curious to hear about you guys
Hey man,
too.
I love back and forth. All right.
Yeah. So what do you guys have been tracking? The two of you mostly been tracking, I'm guessing.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Getting when we do see Kenny, it's a lot of like scrambling, right? Like just record everything, scratch everything.
Knock it out.
Yeah. And then
Cool.
me, and then the bass player, and then Daniel, and then like he's coming down this month.
No, this month.
In 2 weeks actually. So it's going to be 4 days of just not sleeping and just pounding through everything.
Dude, that's the best though. That's one of the best feelings in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when you. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was wondering, where have you been tracking drums?
So we actually kind of like treated we treated a room in our house with it's not professionally done or anything like that, but it did the trick. Like it's dead in there.
Yeah.
So we've been recording some songs in there, and we've also kind of like tried to record behind you in this room, just to kind of like hear the difference of the room sound.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's not the same as a proper studio. You know what I mean? It's like, for example, like
it's a vibe.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely depends on what you're going for. Like I feel like the sound that I heard from you guys, I mean that shit sounded fucking crisp as hell. It sounded
Thanks, bro.
So yeah.
Dude, so funny enough. So, well, the first 3 songs that we tracked, we actually tracked it. Overview. We've tracked everything ourselves, with the exception of drums for the first 3 songs that we put out, and then which they sounded great, and our mixing engineer like knocked it out of the park, in my opinion. But then I think it was like song number 4. We were like, dude, we got to figure this out, man. We're doing all this stuff ourselves. We've self-produced. We've self-recorded. How do we track drums? And specifically, so we have a Dan in our band too. So Dan, him and his brother, so overview of the band. It's myself, Nick, and Dan in the band. And Dan he plays drums, and we all play a bunch of different instruments, but Dan primarily plays drums. He's like, dude, we got to record drums. And I was like, I don't know, man. Let's take a little step back, all right? Just because I get so freaked out. I'm like, there's so many I've never done it. I'd usually record guitar or vocals, and it's just like one mic. And I've got all these
really?
different mics and all the tech. I'm like overwhelmed, paralysis analysis a little bit. So we gave it a shot, and it was really shitty. But you know what? We persevered. And you know what? Well, the coolest thing, dude, is that we, despite it truly sounding like garbage, we managed to make it sound great. Mostly because I am so convinced the right mixing engineer can make you sound $1 million to not make you sound like a pile of steamy garbage in a bad way. And yeah, the guy that we worked with was really good. He helped us basically like sample replace a lot of the stuff.
Yeah.
But
if you
truthfully,
have
it was
that,
rough.
Yeah. If you have that in place, bro, like you're pretty much set to go. Like
Yeah.
for our first album, we tracked everything ourselves, and we fell into the same kind of thing with the drums where the snare, dude, like we just didn't know. We had no idea, and the snare just was not good.
And that drum set was fucking dog shit, dude.
Yeah,
You really?
Yeah.
What were you playing? It's playing a Pacifica from my garage. Is it Pearl?
Oh my god, yeah, it was a $500 drum set right now. I was like, I thought I was
but
the ish.
They're all right. They're all right. You know, they're a flavor. You know, dude. You know what's really that's funny too is that I tend to. I don't know how you guys are. I tend to be a perfectionist, and I've kind of been processing this lately. Is that being a perfectionist is a double-edged sword in the sense that on one side, it's really, really good because it becomes my strong suit, right? I can sit there, I can analyze, I can cut a song apart, and I'm like, it's almost there. We're like 98% of the way there. Let's push it another 2%. The negative side, or the side that's like maybe manifested not the best way, is that it's hiding my insecurity. It's basically me trying to like cover up and make up for a lack in a way. But I don't know, man.
But why do you think that? Why do you think it's covering that up?
Oh, because I want to make sure people think that I'm cool. I want to make sure that people have the best It's almost like managing perception in a way, and some way like fearful of like what are people going to think if it's not the best. And some of it too is even with myself of like it's mostly self-imposed judgment of, well, this is at this level. How do I get it to be? I need to have everything at this level, and it's almost like, again, it's not. Maybe bad is the wrong word. It's just this. It's this push-pull between these two dynamics of like, I want it to be the best possible, but sometimes it's out of the. It isn't serving the song. Usually, it's like me being a little bit of a douche and dragging things on for a little bit too long. And then the other two guys are like,
come on,
just sitting around there like, dude, come on, man.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Dude, that's me in the band.
Yeah.
That's so me in the band.
Yeah. Which I think is good. Yeah.
It is.
I mean, is it a good thing for you guys?
It can be.
Let me ask this. Is it a bad thing?
It can be. Yeah. It can. Yeah. Yeah, because like, sometimes I think I have the right take and he's telling me no. And then it flips sometimes too, where I don't think it's good enough. He's like, it's fine. And I'm like, no, I just one more time, and then it's like a vicious cycle, especially with drums, right? Because it's like, you can have a really solid take. You're like, no one's going to hear that. And you run that risk. It's like, rolling the dice, you try to do it again. And then it's like, it's just not as good. And then, you're stuck with what you had anyways. So, but I kind of feel the same way too. Because it's kind of like an insecurity thing. Like, I don't think I'm the best drummer, right? But I feel like I have total control of that when I'm recording, right? Like, I can put out, like, the ish, right?
Right.
So it's like, pushing yourself to do that is good and bad. It can be.
Yeah, I think it...
Yeah.
I think it's good to one-up yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, for me personally, I feel as though I'm definitely a perfectionist, and... I even like listening to the album, for example, like our album or whatever, like I don't think it sounds that good, to be honest. Like, that's just the honest truth. You probably shouldn't say that, but it's, honest. I'm definitely my biggest critic when it comes to, recording it, the way that it was mixed, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And like I have another project that I recently sent out the songs to get mixed, so we didn't do them ourselves.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was a little easier for me to to take. Do you get what I mean? Because it came from a different perspective.
Sure,
Yeah, I don't know. Did you guys kind of realize that yourselves as well?
Well, I think mixing is like a whole other thing. Did you guys mix your first thing?
Our first album, yeah.
We sent it out to get mastered, but we mixed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, same thing with like drums. I like panicked, and this is the same There's the same freaking crap happens all the time, where Dan has a really, really good idea, and then I'm usually a little like nitpicky about things, and I'm like, well, I want again the perfectionism of like I want it to be perfect.
Yeah.
And then I end up being my own, and not some. I feel like I've overcome it quite a bit just by acknowledging. I guess it's the realization acknowledging has helped me a bit, but yeah, I think we came to the agreement because Dan was like, "Oh, dude, we should just try to mix it." Me and my brother try to mix stuff too. Same thing with the freaking drums. I should have just listened to Dan, and we would have saved like tons of time.
Mm-hmm.
But at least with mixing, it's such a. I've learned from working with different people, which is I feel so fortunate to have been able to do that. We've been to one really big studio in Atlanta. We've been in a small like home studio in Jacksonville. We've recorded our own stuff. We've been in a studio in Cape Coral. And the big difference is really the mixing. And so I thought like we should just send it off to go get mixed. We found this guy, Stefan Makarowicz, I think is how you pronounce his last name. But he had worked on a bunch of bands that we really liked. And he was available. So he just like helped us out. And same deal, dude. I remember the first time I listened to the first mixes for the first 3 songs. I was in the car. It was nighttime. I think it might have been like version 1 or 2. I don't know. But it hit me so hard.
It was good.
It was so good. And it made me hear one of the songs in a new way that I'd never heard it before, where I was like, that's the song that I recorded. And in a very genuine way where I guess I envision the song sounding a certain way where I'm like, I'm thinking placements or like guitar should be here, drum should be here, the level of the bass. And he sent this thing that I was like, this is almost unrecognizable.
Yeah.
But he didn't do anything outside of just using the things that were there. He just heard it a little bit differently. And then obviously in my tendencies, there's this back and forth of having dialogue, but he crushed it after a couple mixes. And
after a couple.
Yeah, well, I mean, he crushed it to start with. I guess it's more so just like our vision, my vision of, it's kind of, again, same dialogue. It's usually just like this. You guys know how it is. It's
of course, yeah, dude.
The democracy of working with one another and having to, compromise on this thing or that thing, or having to, just be sensitive to one another and understand that, and trusting too.
Yeah.
Of, damn, like Nick will say something that I'm like, that's the stupidest thing I've heard. But then, I'm saying it to be harsh, just to make an example. It's usually not that extreme, but he'll say something and I'm like, disagree, dude. Disagree.
Yeah.
Same freaking crap happens. 6 months rolls by or 3 months rolls by because we take a lot of time on these songs and we just go full circle. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Look at where we're at, huh? Yes, Nick was right and Jesus was right. Yeah, Jesus was wrong again. You know what? We're learning something, guys. We're all just on the road to progress.
It's why we mixed our first album and then sent it to get mixed, because we were like, no. We've tried with like singles and things like that to go to studios and have them mix, and it was always something, right? So we were like, screw it, let's mix it ourselves. Yeah. And I mean, it was good. It was good. It's just the little things, we recorded in a lot of different places. We weren't recording the drums all in one take, like in terms of like songs, right? Like just take one day and just do all drums and those little things. And then, the guy that mastered it, I mean, he did what he could, and it was good.
He did a good job. I'll give him that.
He did what he could.
He did what he could, man. We gave him
garbage.
We gave him pieces of poop.
Dude. I mean, it's funny that.
But I commend you guys. I commend you guys. That's really cool.
So I'm proud. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
I just, when you, I guess when you look back and you kind of listen to, I guess it's like the song. Like, I feel like the songs deserve more justice. Maybe is what it is. Which is kind of, it's like if someone were to offer me money to remaster them, I might let them. I might let them have that. I might give that to them. Like, yeah, go ahead and mix them again. It's fine. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, mixing is such an art in its own thing. It's a really cool
dude.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and recording too, really, honestly. Recording is also another one.
For sure.
And I've just recently I felt the most comfortable to be able to not only do stuff here, but then also to finally like branch out and start recording friends of mine's or whatever, and feel confident enough to be like, I sort of know what I'm doing here, so it's not gonna sound. It's gonna sound like what you're paying for, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's funny, man, because I'm kind of on the same journey or path, where I think because of all this time, right? We've invested all this time. We've all recorded. We've spent time in the studio. We love it so much. I've gotten the chance. Like I started recording a friend. His name's Josiah Kent. Y'all keep an eye out. He's super sharp. Super sharp. Has the voice of an angel. Good looking guy. He writes bangers. So, and he's from a little bit outside of Tampa, but really cool guy. Really, and he's just a sweet friend to be around. And then I have another friend who's out in LA who reached out and she's like, "Dude, you wanna help me produce a song?" Which I'm so flattered.
Dude, yes.
But it's an area where it's like I've spent this time doing it for myself, and now I've accumulated all these little tricks or I don't know, just things of like, I guess what I've really learned? I've learned what not to do.
Yeah, definitely. That's and I think like intrinsically you're gonna have your own sound, like the way that you're recording and stuff like that. It's gonna have your unique sound always, just because of what the equipment that you're using, the way that you mix things or whatever, blah blah blah. So I mean, that's really cool, because I'm sure that them reaching out to you, like, that shows that someone really likes what you're doing. Yeah, it's pretty honorable. I know I felt the same way when that happened to us. So that's dope, dude. And I feel like this is how these music communities, I feel like this is how these things grow, because the musicians in the community start kind of working with each other whether it be recording, all that stuff. And then, I mean, that's how like a band like Tame Impala, for example, comes into existence or something like that. It's tight, dude.
Is that kind of how he did it?
Well, I know originally he was recording himself. Like they were like his EPs, I believe, were all him.
Yeah.
And then I think for the first album, they reached out to someone to mix it, which I actually reached out. Well, not me, but my buddy reached out to that guy.
Dave Friedman?
I think so.
Yeah,
I don't
me
remember
too.
the guy's name.
I reached out to Dave Friedman for sure.
Dude, crazy.
Zero response.
Oh, really? Oh, shit. We got a response, bro. And it was like, ooh.
How much was it? How much was it?
I don't remember, but it was a lot. It was probably like,
ballpark.
I think it was like $5,000 or something. It was crazy.
A song or for the album?
I think it was for the full album. Yeah, for the full album.
How many songs was on the album?
We got nine songs.
That's steep.
Yo, if you got $5,000 to spend on mixing, bro, I suggest you do that, because that guy is amazing.
You might as well put out a full-length album, though.
Honestly, 5,000 in my mind, I'm like 5,000. I don't know, man. It's not
math right now.
It's not that crazy.
I might be wrong though.
It could be.
I think that's what it was.
I'm surprised if it is 5,000.
Yeah, I think it was.
That would come out to be a little over 500 a song.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like, the thing is too is interestingly enough, like you think of like an artist like Billie Eilish or something like that, where they started out kind of DIY, and that's now obviously enormous, it's an enormous artist. And to think that like their, whatever their price tag was first, in the beginning of it, and then now like with their fame, how expensive it would be now to, I don't remember the guy's name, but the producer that produces her stuff, like how expensive him.
Yeah.
How much that probably is now. Yeah. A brother, is that what it is?
Yeah, it's her brother.
That's cool.
That's
pretty tight.
interesting. You see, 13 songs is where it's at. That's 384 per song. That's where it's at. If I'm not,
Nice.
I'm okay with that. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, you know.
But yeah, it's that all that stuff is it's crazy, and yeah, I mean, I'm looking. Well, I don't know. I may have found the right person, but I'm still looking for my Nigel Godrich. You know what I mean?
Dude, if you find him, you let me know, okay?
I may have. I don't know yet.
You know what's fun? You know what's fun, dude? I feel really lucky too with the guy we're working with. He's gotten to work with some bigger projects, and it's cool to realize how small the world of music is. Like once you're in it a little bit, which I've never really felt that way. I guess maybe it's a Florida thing. It's probably just because we're in Florida and we're so like geographically away from places.
Yeah.
But at least with the internet, it feels a little bit smaller. Like this guy Stefan that I've worked with is buddies with a bunch of other bands, and not that I'm friends with those other bands, but it's anyway, full circle to what you're saying. He's super talented, and I'm really lucky to be able to like work with him. And he gets to produce some like cool bands, and I don't know.
No,
there's people out there, bro. There's people out there that I guess are undervalued in a way.
Yeah, I wonder back in the day before the internet, I wonder how hard it was to access someone of that caliber. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I have no idea. Like, did you need a label or did you just need to have the money for it? You know?
Probably the same, dude. Because those mixing engineers just want money. I mean, they want to work on good projects, but
that's true. That's true. Yeah. Yeah. I always thought it was so. Like, I guess when I was younger, I thought it was so far-fetched to be able to contact someone that worked on something that I really enjoyed.
Right.
And the fact that it's possible, it just kind of opens your world to, if I wanted to work with this mixing engineer, I could just reach out and see what his price tag is.
Literally just send an email. Yeah, exactly, dude.
Yeah. No, it's super interesting, man. I love that about this. I mean, it's what makes music exciting. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's from a recording aspect. But actually, I wanted to ask you, I have a list of questions I haven't even gotten into yet.
All right,
but when dude, this is literally like podcast. This is like what I love about podcasts.
This is a good start.
Yeah,
all right,
you can just have normal conversation.
Cool.
But when we first met, which was a while ago, actually, you were playing in a band called Supros. Mm-hmm. Is there a different member in Muchacho? Because I know you guys have the same bass player, correct? Or is it someone different?
So our band, Muchacho, basically has we have stations for live stuff. So like each one of us plays a designated instrument for live. But for recording, it's basically, when we started the new band, we just eliminated any labels of saying, well, I am the chief writer and I play guitar, and then you play bass, and then you play drums. So it's been really cool because all of us have grown musically, we're able to kind of contribute or this guy does this guy does that. But to answer your question, so Supros was 4 people initially, or 3 people initially, then 4. And then we kicked our drummer out, and then the band kind of dissolved after that. We added in a friend, but
okay.
So it's 3 of us from Supros.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not with the same drummer though, right? I'm assuming.
No, for sure.
Okay. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
No.
I mean, I didn't. We just weren't on the same page and parted ways.
Yeah, we've done that ourselves, man. Trust me, we know that life, bro. It's hard. That's a tough life, man. Especially when, well, in our case, we literally left a city together, from Miami. All of us moved up to Tampa.
Right, I forgot. Y'all are from Miami. I remember the 305 number.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, we moved. I think actually we were pretty fresh, I think, in Tampa when we met you originally, which was like, I think that was about, like 8 years ago or something?
Like 2014.
Was it 14?
6.
Wow.
Right.
That's crazy. Holy shit. Market on 7th doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah. I was going to ask you. So I thought our first show was at Market, right?
Yes.
Our first show together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was, and I remember, so after the show, I remember coming up to you guys and being like, you guys sound so goddamn good. Like, you guys should be playing. I literally remember saying this, and I think it was to your bass player. I was like, you guys should be in stadiums. You really did. You guys had such a fucking good sound, man. It was sick.
Thanks,
I
bro.
can't wait to see you guys Muchacho play live. Like, I mean, I can't imagine. Just
Yeah,
based
me
off of
too.
what I heard, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's gonna be sick. But yeah, okay. So what would you
those
say?
were fun times, dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Fun memories.
Definitely. Yeah, it
Sucks
is.
that venue closed. That venue was.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, that was a fun place. You get free pizza.
Freaking pizza, bro.
You get like $20 at the end of the night. You get a pizza.
A few drinks, just hanging.
Yeah, that place was literally one of the only venues I think we were playing at the time.
Yep.
Before we started getting into other ones. But yeah,
Dude,
that was weird.
Those shows were literally our gateway into playing Tampa.
Are you guys from Tampa?
No, we're from Cape Coral. They're just 2 hours south, next to Fort Myers.
Okay.
And then my wife and I moved up here a little over a year ago, so we live in St. Pete.
How you liking it?
Freaking love it, dude. It's so good. It's night and day, dude. It's like, you know what I compare my hometown to? Maybe y'all feel this way about Miami, but it's like I compare it to like a mom. Like say she was my mom. She's not the coolest mom. She smells a little bit. She's not that attractive. She's got a weird mole. People don't really like her that much. But I'm like, damn it, she's my mom. Okay? So I could talk bad about my mom, but you don't talk bad about my mom. But yeah, dude, I'm so happy to be gone.
I feel the same exact way about Miami. I'm from Miami through and through. 305. Yeah. It is what it is.
That a youngin.
But yeah. Pitbull. But it sucks, and I would never move back. No, I'm good. Thank you. Yeah.
No, Miami. I will say now, I think the scene down there is pretty sick. Like, especially for your music, I think you guys, and I say this, there's a lot of bands that I think that, but like your music, I think would kill down there for sure. Like I don't know, have you guys played down there yet?
Never. I've never played in Miami.
Really?
Which is upsetting. I've tried several times.
What?
But one, I can't. I couldn't find bands to play with, and I couldn't find venues outside of Churchill's.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that place is cool, and they have like a lot of different bands go through, so it's like it doesn't matter how weird you are, like it's cool and people are out there and stuff. But yeah, like I'm not gonna go to Miami for just one show. Right. Like I want at least two, and it's hard, man. Yeah. I mean, the last time we went down there was tricky.
Yeah, definitely. Once shows start happening again, let me know, man. We'll hook you up for sure. We got you, bro.
That'd be sick, dude. Thank you,
man. We got you, dude. We got tons of friends down there.
Same with Cape Fort Myers, dude. There's some cool spots.
Is there?
Maybe not that many. There's a couple.
Yeah. How is the scene though?
There was a scene quite a while ago. I'm not really hip to it. At least the last year that I was living there, last couple of years, it really wasn't too much. But I will say there's a really, 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 really cool spot that I haven't been able to find any equivalent in Tampa Bay called Nice Guys. Nice Guys Pizza. Dude, I swear to you, promise you, I would bet all my money that you would think is the best pizza in the world. I've never had pizza this good. Really? It is the vibiest place you've ever been. It looks straight out of Brooklyn, and it's in the heart of like downtown Cape Coral. But anyway, the couple that own it, they used to be in a band, and they do a bunch of shows. And then across the street, a buddy of mine opened a wine bar. So they do shows there too, called the Palace. Not the Palace, called Palace Pub and Wine Bar.
Damn, that's tight. So yeah,
and there's cool people. People are so
whenever you go back, you're good to go. Basically, you got a place to play.
Yeah. Luckily,
That's cool. Okay, so in terms of Supros and Muchacho, what would you say are the main differences in like the music style, or do you think there's not really a difference?
Sure. Well, I think some of that breaks down from the way that we wrote music. So Supros was mainly based off of, I would write a riff, we'd show up to practice, and practice consisted of probably 3 to on the long side 5 hours of us either fleshing out an idea together, but it's usually based off of, again, that little like snippet. So I'll have like, and then I'll show up. We'll just, maybe I'll hear a progression, or I'll be like, okay, dude, I want you to like, we're gonna do A, C sharp, B minor. Okay, it's gonna be super cool. We do that, test it out, and then we basically just like try to piece the song together. I'd go home, rework on the song, and then come back, and we just kind of do this process over and over again, and we'd practice a bunch, and we got to play a bunch of shows. So the big difference is Supros was more of like a live band, and it was not a little bit, it was taxing. The reason we ended up breaking up was basically I just got burnt out in my personal life, and just like it felt like things weren't clicking. And especially like kicking out a drummer that's, you have certain expectations of like, this drummer is super, super sick. And I don't know. It's just, you know how it is. It's just hard to find somebody that you like immediately click with. And especially when the expectation's up here and you're like, I want this. It's like dating a really, really pretty girl. We're like,
yeah,
just her personality's not there, but she's really pretty. So I'm like, anyway, so there's that. And then with Muchacho, when we started, we had sat down and we had discussions similar to what I was saying before. We had discussions of how we wanted to go about it. And we'd said, all right, so what would it look like if we did music again? First off, do we want to do music again? Do we want to work with each other? What would it look like? And some of the things that came up was just, all of us just wanted to feel free. We wanted to feel free to make whatever we wanted to make, kind of make our own rules, release ourselves from any expectation that we had placed on the last thing, let it be a fresh start, write the music we want to write, incorporate instrumentations that we'd never incorporated. I wanted to become a better writer, write better lyrics. So it became a lot more of like a team dynamic. And we've spent essentially all the time that we would spend practicing, we basically just sat down and learned how to like record. So we would spend, anytime we'd get together, it'd be like 4 hours of us sitting in front of a computer with Logic open and pressing play. And then we're like, all right, dude, got this riff. And again, really cool thing is that we've all evolved and progressed and really challenged ourselves to keep growing. So for example, the new song that we're coming out with, Dan actually started, which I don't want to say never because I don't remember, but I'd say 90 to 95% of the stuff with Supros was usually like, I came up with an idea, showed it to the band, we worked on it together, and we made it our own. Versus now it's, the door is open of like, bring it. If you have an idea, don't be shy. I know that you might not feel confident as like a guitar player. You're not confident as a bassist or a drummer, but bring whatever you got and let's work on it together. Because I think if we allow ourselves to kind of, if I hear a drum beat, Dan's going to make it 10 times better just by him playing it. Or if Nick has a guitar part, I'm going to be able to play it quite a bit better than him. Same with bass, because Nick is dirty on bass.
Yeah, he is.
Although I will say he's come a really, 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 really long way, and he's like killer guitar player now. So don't let him fool you. But so we basically sit around and just record a bunch of stuff, and we were on the verge of kind of transitioning into like, all right, let's go play some more shows.
Yeah,
we're itching. We need to, because there's that itch of like the performance aspect. So we wrote all these songs that have all these really complicated parts in it, and we're trying to figure out how to do it with 3 people. And I'd never written songs that are so dense, and they're essentially like maximalism of like, how much can we push, how much information can we put in there, how many synths can we kind of layer in to make this like part attack, how like we're gonna have 2 guitar parts doubled, and then there's a 3rd guitar line coming in, and then there's a 4th guitar in the background, and we have a synth bass. We have a Jupiter 8 bass, like for the majority of the song, and then we have a bass guitar in the background doing something slightly different. But then in the bridge, we have a Moog bass, right? And then we're gonna switch, and then we're gonna have like a little 808 thing in the background for rhythm, or we're gonna add in tambourine. So it's, again, it was a lot of like maximalism of trying to push ourselves, trying to like grow and just make the sound, because we're learning how to like work with specifically synthesizers and drum machines, trying to figure out like I get guitars. Yeah. I've been there. We've spent so many hours, literally hundreds of hours sitting there practicing, playing with one another. Where I'm like, I get it. Okay, we could do the Strokes thing. We could do 2 guitars, pan them hard, bass in the center, drums, and just kind of do our thing. But then, I don't know, I guess part of it is the challenge too of like, we wanted to grow, so we had this new adventure, and it just grabbed our attention of like, let's figure out how do we make this not the coolest thing for everybody else, but make it satisfying for ourselves as much as possible, because it seemed like, at least with Supros, there was a bit more compromising, because it was a lot more of like improvising, a lot of like just on your toes, and whatever stuck.
You think also you guys were trying to keep it a little more simplistic to kind of like what you like the instruments that you were playing, rather than kind of branching out and maybe adding synths or something to it?
In Supros?
Yeah.
We just didn't know. I didn't know anything about synths. Again, this is the process of my life, is literally me being intimidated by things that I shouldn't. In hindsight, I'm like, why was I so intimidated by this?
Yeah.
And I didn't. I think we might have talked about it.
I get it though, man. Yeah. I totally understand.
And the other thing too, bro, is that it worked. So it's like,
why?
Yeah, especially because we wanted to keep it the 4 of us, and Dan was playing percussion and guitar, so it gave so much energy, because it was so the whole music was so rhythmic focused that you could get away with not needing anything else, I guess.
Yeah. No, I get that, because like, weirdly enough, I feel like our band, for example, has gone through the progression of kind of making 90s alternative rock, is what people have said. And I've, for the longest time, wanted to include keys and synth, but we just never had the equipment. So that was kind of the main reason why we never included it with like live performances. And then it wasn't until I bought a Roland synthesizer that we started incorporating it. Luckily, right at the time, the JDXi, kind of like, just like the cheap version of like a
the
synth,
workstation,
but
no? JDXi.
It's got basically a drum sequencer on it. Yeah, see, this is when I wish I had a producer so they can just like pull it up. But yeah, basically it's got it's a synth, right? So it's got the keys on it. It's got
I've seen this before. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, it's a cool little synth. It was affordable or whatever, and it has some pretty cool tones. And I will say the keyboard tones are not good at all, but some of the synth stuff is pretty tight. And we happened to get that right when we were recording our album, so we were able to kind of have some synth stuff in the album. But live, we couldn't. It was kind of difficult to do it live.
Yeah.
And then now, like, our new stuff is now more focused on keys and synths incorporated. You know what I mean? And also, we're gonna have a drum pad pretty soon too.
Nice.
So we'll be able to do some electronic stuff. So it's just like not having the
Ooh.
What's that?
Ooh.
Nice.
So I ended up buying this at a thrift store forever ago. So to your point, dude, I was, again, this perfectionist mentality where I was like, I can't do it if I don't have the right thing. So I bought this. It's literally like a cheap toy keyboard from the 80s from Casio, the MT205. And a big influence for us at the beginning, especially for for a couple of the guys in the band. Well, I guess the other two guys is Phoenix, and they use a bunch of like Yamaha keyboards. So I was like, what the heck? Let's just do it. And that little guy literally was like the turning point of us realizing like we could do synths, like we could figure it out. Because I didn't have any synthesizers outside of like Logic stuff, but I didn't really. It was too much, too many knobs. It was too many knobs. Whereas with this, I'd like press the button, I plug it, and I could plug it through my pedal board too, and I could make it sound the way I knew how to control it, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
But then eventually it kind of gave me the bug, and I got to figure out, oh, okay, we could like do this or put a little tremolo on it, and it sounds cool.
Yeah.
All right, sorry to interrupt. So you're adding in
good,
synths and
bro.
keys.
No, you're good, dude.
The possibilities are endless, man.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like,
dude, yes. And you know what? So here's my favorite thing. Producer dude that I've talked to, he said quite a few smart things that I don't think he noticed, that I just kind of like take notes and make it make them my mantras. But whatever works. Yeah. So it gave me when I heard him say that, it gave me so much freedom to say like, yeah, who gives a crap? Like, I'm gonna use that. Why not?
If it sounds good, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't.
Right. Yeah. But I've always had this perception of like, it needs to be the best, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it's this reoccurring thing in my life where I'm like, I gotta make it as good as possible, and it can't possibly come from a $20 thrift store keyboard. Exactly. But the $20 thrift store keyboard is literally the thing that makes the song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what makes it unique. I mean, you'll see like a good example was Dave Navarro when he was recording what's that album with the Chili Peppers?
One Hot Minute.
One Hot Minute. They used this really cheap guitar. It was like this really shitty cheap guitar for a solo. Nice. And you can't get that tone anywhere else unless you have that shitty guitar.
And was it something in the way on Nevermind? I think it was.
Oh, just like a shitty.
The acoustic guitar was like bust. It was old. It was shitty. It couldn't keep tune. And yeah. So when they brought in the cello player to kind of follow Kurt, he was like, "Well, this isn't in tune. I'll have to figure it out." And they were like, "Yes."
Hell yeah, bro.
And sometimes it's just the way that it sounds.
Yeah, I think you can honestly. I've heard bands that don't have great equipment. You can just tell that they don't have great equipment, but they sound phenomenal. They sound good, It doesn't matter. Dude, it really doesn't.
For real. Well, even the interface that I started off with, I'd had it since Supros. I'd like record demos in my bedroom. This really shit like M audio box. I think it was M. Yeah. I don't even remember what it is. But yeah, I used that for literally the majority of the 3 songs that we recorded was like on an $80 interface. Yeah. So when people make excuses about stuff, I'm like, you don't make it. Don't let gear be an excuse.
No.
Yeah.
No, literally.
Just try.
Yeah. With the exception of maybe drums. A little bit. But even then, like with you guys in the bedroom, it's a vibe. Like it might not sound like Abbey Road, but it's gonna sound like your bedroom. You know?
It's gonna sound
could
like
be
something.
Cool. Yeah, it's gonna sound like something. Yeah.
Yeah, I think honestly the most important part when it comes to drums is making sure that the tone is correct. So for example, with us in the first one, the snare just didn't sound good, and we didn't take the time to listen back when we were listening. You know, like when you're basically playing through the song and listening for the snare and saying, do I really like this tone, before even EQing it, for example.
Yeah.
And now like we're way more privy to that, where we make sure first off, do we like the way it sounds unmixed, whatever,
with your ears.
Blah, blah, blah. Exactly.
Yeah, that's key, right? Like, you know, another thing too is like mic placement. Like, why weren't we moving mics around to get the right tone from the beginning?
Right.
You know, and it's like people like sometimes don't think of those things where it's like has nothing to do with the gear sometimes. You know, like the snare was crap. I could have just bought a better snare, kept the rest of the drum set. Drum set sounded fine, right? But we just didn't think, you know. It is what it is.
It's a learning process.
Now I have a sick drum set. Sick.
Well, I don't want to keep you too much longer, Jesus. So I've got one last question for you.
Okay, hit me, dude.
So
no pressure, but make this the best question you have. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. So what is your goal in the music business?
Oh, dude. My goal, honestly, my biggest goal is I don't want to say the biggest. I think my biggest. No, well, I think about this quite a bit, but I guess I'm thinking about like what would I prioritize? I'd say that my biggest goal right now is to figure out how do I do this for a living.
Yeah.
Which I'm already I'm trying my best to really like work on music. Like I'm recording a bunch of music on my own. In particular, like there's a song that I'm almost done with, which I've only put out one song myself. But I want to have another outlet too of like just stuff that I like, where it might not fit in the Muchacho universe, but I'm like, I like this too. So I'm gonna like try to pursue that. So my biggest goal is to just keep making stuff. Honestly, like I think it might be that simple. Make things, and I'm convinced that if I keep doing it, I'll figure out how to make money from it eventually. But as long as I keep making things, I'm going to get better. I'm going to learn how to write better. I'm going to learn how to record better. I'm going to write the best songs that I've written yet if I keep writing.
Yeah.
So I'm convinced that if I allow the space and I just spend even a little bit of time on it every day, that I'll just the money will come somehow.
Yeah.
But my
It's a
goal
marathon.
is literally yeah, for sure. And sometimes, I mean, typically I'm like, I just want to sprint, but
Dude, you and I think are soulmates here.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's cool,
a
bro.
lot of the shit that you're saying is literally stuff that I think every day.
Oh, for real?
Oh yeah.
If Daniel isn't
should
doing
counsel each other.
something,
Yeah.
if Daniel isn't doing something every single day, he's like, no, I wasted the day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you haven't wasted the day. You sent out a few emails, like you've done things, but it's like, no, it's not enough. It's not
Yeah.
enough. What did I do? I got home and I sat there for an hour. Why did I sit there for an hour? It's like,
That's funny.
relax. But, it's a good balance because I'm the opposite. So I need that.
Yeah.
Like, for example, you just reminded me I haven't touched my drum set today. I'm a piece of shit. So thanks.
dude. So I just finished this book. I'll make a little plug and then I'll stop talking. But have you guys ever read Atomic Habits?
No.
No? I'd recommend it, for real. Yeah, not just for music, but for anything in life. And one of the things that he addresses is how to make things satisfying is one of the ways to build a really good habit. He talked about Jerry Seinfeld has a calendar where essentially he just marks an X on every day. His goal is every day I just need to write a joke. Every single day, because he knows that if I just keep writing jokes, eventually a good joke will come about.
Yeah.
So he'll have this visual calendar. We'll write an X on the day that he did it. And so he makes it a game where he's like, the game is literally just never have a day. Don't break your streak.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally just bought a calendar. I have it up here and I'm looking at.
I could try
That's
that.
a good idea, man.
New
Yeah.
drum beat every day. Just one.
Yeah, for
Snippet,
real.
30
And if you
seconds.
make, dude. And if you make it super simple of saying, hey, I'm gonna work on music, make it basically like achievable. Like just enough of a challenge, but not too far of a challenge where it's like, if I'm not spending 6 hours a day playing drums, then I'm a loser. But
Yeah,
just
exactly.
almost tricking yourself into thinking, okay, if I'm gonna allot myself 2 minutes to write a song. And 2 minutes ends up becoming an hour.
Yeah, easily.
But it's that initial just getting started and sitting down is really the biggest thing.
Yeah.
It's a good trick because if it doesn't end up being an hour and it's only 30 minutes, well, it was more than the 2 minutes I said I was going to do.
For sure.
I win.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. Or even if it's 5 minutes, like it's still a win. You get to do the thing you like and you're 5 minutes ahead of where you would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
No, for sure. And on that, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us, man. I really appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you guys. Okay.
No, we appreciate you.
Okay. I'll take it.
Hopefully when things calm down and it's not so scary or whatever, we can have you guys come and do the live session if you guys are interested in that. That'd be pretty fun.
Good, dude. Yeah. I'm down for whatever. And same with writing, man. If you ever want to write stuff, or you want to co-write stuff, I'm really trying to use this time positively. especially
Yeah.
since I'm not meeting up with people in person. Like I've been FaceTiming people. I got to write a song with Jordan the other day.
Did you?
Jordan Esker.
That's my boy.
Yeah, he's great. He's talented, man.
Yeah, he's the one that mixed my other project, dude.
Oh, he did.
Yeah,
That's
he did.
cool, man.
Yeah, I'll send it. I'll send you a song, see if you like it.
Good, dude. I'd love to hear it, man.
Yeah,
I'd love to hear it.
Yeah. Jordan's he's like it's feel weird saying this, but he's like my older brother in music.
Oh,
you know,
man.
like he's taught me
That's
so much, bro. Like I have,
Yeah.
it's a weird thing to say, but it's the truth.
Is he older than you?
Is Jordan older? I think
I
he
think
is.
he is. So
older
it's not
than me,
that weird to
I
say.
guess
I
it's
don't
not
know.
that weird.
He's a little
But it's
sage,
just-
like, you know.
Yeah. A lot, dude. He's taught me a lot, so I appreciate that guy.
That's great.
I appreciate the shit out of that guy.
That's great, man.
Yeah. But yeah, man, thank you so much, dude. And I'll be posting this probably sometime next week. So,
Okay.
Stay tuned for that, man.
Sounds great, man.
All right. Yeah, man. Have a good one, bro. Stay safe and don't do anything crazy.
Okay, well, we'll see. All right, see you guys.
brother.
Bye.
Take it easy, man.